Vincent. I live at the Sherwood Cooperative, which is a 14-member co-op house in the University District. And that's, specifically it's around 18th and 50th, so it's pretty close to the university. And, historically it has been a student cooperative, but in recent times it's kind of opened up to kind of whoever, and we have students and non-students alike. And so our house, or our co-op, has its roots actually back a long ways. We can trace it to the time of the Great Depression, when there was the formation of a Students Cooperative Association at the University of Washington. And this was a group of people who were kind of pooling their resources in order to create an affordable living situation while they're struggling to pay tuition and survive. And this kind of gave way to one of these kind of great systems of co-ops that you see affiliated with universities around the country. So there was a Sherwood house that was created in the 30s. And so that was going very well. And sometime in the 1950s, this whole association of houses, which there are, I think, about a dozen of them and hundreds of students living in this system of co-ops. In the 50s, this thing kind of mysteriously disbanded and kind of disappeared. But there was one group who didn't want to just vanish and kind of carried on in this spirit of cooperative living. And then through the next few decades, this kind of group of renegade activists, young people, found themselves jumping, from house to house, bouncing until they found our current beautiful blue, funky house that we have. That's awkwardly nestled in the kind of Greek zone of the University of Washington. So they found that house in 1978 and lived there renting until 2001, when the opportunity arose to purchase the house. And then at that point, they were kind of on their own until the group put the house into trust with the Evergreen Land Trust. So now the Sherwood Co-op is kind of the steward for this property that's owned by the Land Trust. And so, yeah, I think it's looked very different over the years. But the way that it kind of looks now is, a lot of folks kind of find this place as students, or at that stage of our lives. And there's a lot of folks in their late teens and 20s, and for a lot of us who've moved in there, it is kind of our first experience with intentional community living. And for many of us, it has been a kind of a springboard into this world and into future community living projects. So it's lots of fun. There's dinners almost every night of the month, and we have potlucks every month, and we have a big garden out front and play music, and it's basically a pretty lovely scene. And we operate by consensus as well, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit more in a bit. It's I think for many of us kind of been a venue for an amazing amount of growth and learning at this kind of stage in our lives. For me, it has. So I'll say more about that maybe.
And is this the biggest that it's been? You said a population of 14?
Yeah, so right now we have 15 people living there, and so historically it's, while we've been in this house, it's been a 14-member co-op. So I think that once, we have 14 bedrooms, so it usually stays around that number. So, yeah.
Every once in a while there'll be a couple to share, or as one revolves. And